Libertad, the Spanish word for freedom. And here's the shocking thing. I didn't understand that word for a really long time. I also didn't buy a poncho for a really long time. But this freedom can be yours as well, and living overseas is actually possible. And here's how. Do you need to be rich in order to live abroad? Well, I thought so before I moved to Chile about 11 years ago. And honestly, my thoughts have changed a bit because after living in Latin America for 11 years, I realized that you don't necessarily need to have tons and tons of money, and you don't necessarily need to save as much for retirement. And, well, you don't have to retire in order to live abroad. You can do it now from, 20 years old, like I did when I moved to the Dominican Republic right after college. I think I was 22 maybe. And then you can move later on. After living in the United States, you can move to Chile when you're 28 years old. And you can stay here for as long as you'd like. And, I think talking to you and talking to so many people who have lived abroad, they've opened my eyes to what's possible. And that led us to buying a house. But this is possible for you as well. The secret isn't becoming rich. The secret is having income that travels. In the past, you had to move to big cities in order to get the big jobs. And that's still partly true today. The big jobs are in the big cities, and sometimes you have to be in an office. But if you want to be a digital nomad, if you want to live abroad and have a different life, and maybe move to different countries throughout the year, it is possible because there are so many jobs that are online right now. And you're able to get those jobs if you're willing to sacrifice just a little bit. And for as much as I love talking about living abroad and living here in Ecuador and traveling around and showing you different parts of the world, honestly, I really do love the United States. But I was just there and I go back often, and honestly, the prices are just so expensive. And I remember sitting in the car and just waiting 45 minutes to get to work, and then spending the money on the expensive gas in order to get there. And all of these prices, they add up. And then you have Amazon, which is awesome, but also you can just scroll on your phone and spend money in a click. And it's super easy to spend money. And then you go to the grocery store, and the grocery prices are so expensive compared to here in Ecuador. And all of these prices just add up and add up and add up. And if you are willing to make a little bit of a sacrifice, you're able to try different foods and live like locals here in Latin America, you're able to save a bunch of money. And I think that if you are Latino, you're also able to find a job that might be something that makes you even more money. And we're going to talk about that at the end of this video. What kind of jobs could you get if you want a remote job? And I've worked with lots of Latinos who are living in Spain right now, and they are asking me to help them with projects, and they are some really cool projects. So if you're thinking that this is just for people from North America, you're wrong. This is for anyone. One thing that I realized right away when I moved to Latin America is that people spend more time living. In the plazas, in the parks, you have families hanging out together with a soccer ball, or sometimes for me, an American football, and you're throwing it with your son and just having fun, enjoying life. Or you could be out here in the middle of absolutely nowhere, going for a hike with your family, or just being with your dogs. And that is just something that in many American places, it's for retirement, or it's for one day of the week. In Latin America, yes, I would say Sunday is the day that everyone is out. But if you live in Quito and you go out during the morning, you see lots of people doing exercise before work. And you see people at night. And sometimes you even see people during the day. And my goodness, the amount of holidays that are here in Latin America is insane. So the amount of time that you're able just to hang out and be with people that you love. And in Chile, it's having some meat together, having a bottle of wine together. Here in the northern parts, it's sitting outside, enjoying nature together, going to the parks, going for an adventure together. And you see it on this channel, all the different things that you can do. And I think that was in the United States a lot more, and it definitely still is. In the Midwest, where my family is from, family get-togethers are huge, and any kind of holiday, you invite people over and you hang out with people. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but the prices to do something like that is much different. And the freedom that I feel here in Latin America, it just feels different here. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that everyone should do this. I understand the risks. The kids moving to another country, learning another language, the prices to move to another country, it's not something that's free for you to do. Finding a nice place to live, what's the area that you need to live? What's the school that my kid needs to go to that's a safe school, that is a good school? And how much is that going to cost? Well, that's what I'm trying to help you with here on this channel, is trying to understand those different things. And I think the biggest risk and the biggest thing, the underlying thing under all those different things that you lay out and you say, ooh, I'm not sure about that, is, well, the risk of jumping into a new culture, a new place, moving away from something that you know to something that is unknown. But here's the thing. There are plenty of jobs that'll at least get your feet wet, and maybe you keep the mortgage, keep your house in the United States or wherever you're from, and then you move abroad for a month or a couple of months, and you test it out and see what you think about it. And if you're in that kind of a boat, I would look into trying to find a new job in something maybe that you're not used to. For me, I'm a teacher. I graduated college as a teacher. And then I moved to Chile. Well, I had some years before that teaching in the United States, but then I moved to Chile and I was a teacher in the schools. And I think that's one of the best jobs if you're able to. And if you're a teacher, if you want to move abroad as a teacher, there are so many opportunities to teach English. And if you don't want to teach in a physical school, you could teach online, teaching English. And I know so many people who do that. And you don't necessarily need to have a college degree in order to have a teaching job online. You're able to do that by just getting a simple degree online, look it up yourself, and then just go to openenglish.com or one of these online teaching platforms, and you're able to get a job. And a lot of people live here in Ecuador very comfortably by teaching English online. You make your own schedule, you teach your classes that you want to teach, and, well, you can live here in Ecuador or Latin America or other countries around the world. Open English, I would check that out if you're interested. For me, I love teaching, but I also had 2 hours a day when I was in Chile to drink tea. And every day you had 2 hours to drink tea and talk together, which is great, and a huge part of Latino culture is sitting and hanging out together. But for me, as a North American, I thought, well, I'm pretty bored. And I also didn't understand very much Spanish when I first moved to Chile. So then I started to make some videos, and I started to edit, and I started to invest money into making these videos, and eventually I picked up a new skill, which is editing and also making videos, and then also working with different companies and businesses and things like that. So for me, taking a risk and throwing myself out there and making videos actually turned out to be a whole new job and a whole new experience that I got to have of meeting people like you who are watching, and then business leaders, and then I had my own TV show in national television in Chile. I mean, it was crazy. So if you're willing to learn a new skill, I think that you're going to have different things that open up for you as well. Maybe it's not making YouTube videos like this, but maybe it's editing. Maybe it's helping somebody with their bookkeeping. So for me, I'm not very good at keeping the ledger of all the expenses I have and doing the taxes and things like that, so I hire people to do that. And you could do that from anywhere around the world. I do have a couple of other things. So customer support, you can look that up. That's something big that you can do anywhere around the world. Teaching English, video editing, Virtual assistant work, you could look those jobs up. You could start something on Fiverr as well to be an assistant, or look at all those different jobs that are available on Fiverr. I constantly look for people to help me with things on there. You can help with sales, the bookkeeping, social media management, content creation, freelance writing. There are so many different jobs. If you're willing to just take a risk and throw yourself out there and learn a new skill, perhaps, I think you're going to see that there are a lot of digital nomad jobs that are out there. But here's a mistake that a lot of people run into. When you move abroad, you think that all of your problems are going to go away. Your problems at work, your problems with all paying bills, and all these different problems that you might have. And honestly, it doesn't solve all of your problems. It's just a different kind of a problem, and different problem solving you have to do, of learning another language, of balancing your budget just a little bit differently, of finding a new job in a different area that you weren't used to before. And if you think that just moving abroad is going to fix all of your problems, that's not necessarily true. I wish it were true, because this video would just be super positive, but it's not going to solve all of your problems. And if it's a problem that you have with a relationship that you have, or something at work, I would solve that before you were to move abroad, because you might just have that problem there, and then you might just pick up another problem here, and you're going to be really frustrated because, well, you didn't solve the other problem that was maybe a root problem that you had. So don't just give up what you have wherever you're living right now because you want to get rid of all of your problems and all stress will go away. That is definitely not the case. Moving to Chile was the hardest thing that Elise and I have ever done. We moved there was no heat in the house, there was no kitchen counter, there was no refrigerator, there was no bed. We moved there in the middle of winter. All we had were our sleeping bags in this house that then was infested by mold. And it was an awful experience. And we didn't know any Spanish, so going out and buying food, we had no idea where to go. We had no car. I mean, honestly, it was a very difficult experience, but in the end of it, I mean, we're so happy. It was an incredible experience and something that as a couple we did, and it moved us to do what we're doing today and think that we can pretty much accomplish anything that anyone throws at us. So that could be work, that could be making a new TV show that I did, that could be buying a house in the middle of nowhere in Ecuador, that could be Elise traveling and me staying with Moses, or vice versa. Or we get in trouble on a subway somewhere, and we know that we've been through some really difficult times. And honestly, that's part of moving abroad, is going through some of those difficult times. And that's okay, because I think in the end, well, at least for us, we came out better people. So many of you are watching my videos today and saying, well, I wish I had a poncho like John, or I wish I had that backdrop. And honestly, you could. You could have this if you wanted to. And I'm not going to say that it's all perfect and easy and just moving to another country is going to take away all of your problems. No. But I will say that you can buy a poncho for just a few dollars. And maybe that'll take away your problem of being cold. But honestly, we're moving into this digital age, and we've been here for a little while, but especially with the use of AI and technology and being connected via laptop, and with COVID happening and everyone moving to Zoom and online meetings, you're able to move abroad with a certain kind of a job. And it's not impossible. You're going to take some risks, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to get rid of all of your problems that you're having maybe right now, but it might give you something like this, and it could definitely give you something like this. And honestly, for us and our family, we love the decision that we made of moving abroad. For Moses to be able to learn a different language, to check a different culture off his list and say, hey, I can live like this and it's okay. I can just play in the dirt as an 8-year-old and not look at a cell phone or an iPad. And that's good. And that's what us as parents want for our son Moses. And it's okay for him not to go to McDonald's all the time and to eat some fresh fruits and vegetables and things like that you just pick up for really cheap at the corner store. And for us to pick up flowers when we want to. For just a couple of dollars, you can have 30 roses. I think there are so many beautiful things, and I say it here on this channel all the time. You have to find the good wherever you are. And if you're just looking for bad, or if you're stuck in that rut of thinking that the glass is half empty, well, then you're just going to be stuck in that rut no matter where you're at. If you're in the United States right now and you're at that job and you're sick of commuting and things like that, and you're thinking the glass is half empty, well, it's probably going to be half empty no matter where you're at, because, well, there's always going to be something that's not great about where you live. And for me, being a Christian, that's just called sin. We live in a sinful world. And, well, that's going to be a part of wherever you go. For us and for our family, we love the change that we made here. We love that we're here in the middle of nowhere in the Campo. Some people love the city. We love the relaxation and listening to the birds and not listening to the traffic and not having a huge commute to wherever we go. And you're going to see in my next videos that this is going to be completely different because we are going to Paris. All right, we'll see you guys in the next video. I hope that you enjoyed. Leave a thumbs up. Leave me a nice little comment as well. Let me know what you think about moving abroad. Was it easy? Was it hard? What are your risks that you're most scared about if you're thinking of moving abroad right now? Are you thinking of moving here to Ecuador? If so, I think I have a pretty cool episode coming for you soon because I've met somebody who does visa work. If you're interested in that, well, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video from, I think, Paris, if everything works out really well. All right, see you guys in the next video. Whew. Ciao, Pascal. Kind of cold. This is nice though.